feel free to go, Morris.
All right. All right. Well, I want to welcome everyone to what is number 32, the podcast to end and or start all podcasts about hype about 3.1. I think we should address that our schedule has been a little all over the place just right off the bat, and that's entirely due to me. People might be able to, if you're watching this on video, if you're not, behind me is different. The shelf that's behind me that people forget about is gone because I have moved, which was a laborious, insane, crazy process for the last 3 months. So that's basically what I've been doing for the last 3 months. So that said, here we are. And I maybe we could just start off with the fact that today is 3.1 and Abyss League. And maybe you should go first, Noogie, on just, are you excited or not excited? And then we can go over
I am the most excited.
Okay.
I think this is the most excited I've been since, I don't even remember, for like a league, for what I expect out of it. So,
okay. Well, I don't think it would be a Moore's podcast unless I brought some negativity. So I'm going to say that I have been more excited once before when it comes to PoE, and I believe that was for Invasion. So, but given the fact that I was not excited for Breach, and Breach turned out to be good, and this was described, I believe, by Chris as Breach 2.0. Isn't that what he said?
Kind of.
Okay, I'm getting that little tingly feeling in my little ping pong here about what could be going on, and so I mean, I guess we should talk about why we're excited because of changes. So just to start, we could I guess we could alternate. Noogie and I actually made a list of things we want to talk about because, and this is very key, just like all PoE patches, there was 400 million thousand things that have changed.
Yes.
So we're trying to make sure we hit all the things. So forgive us if we miss something. I will start with the thing that I think I was most excited about, which was the Vol Pack change. I think we've all been, that's been sort of coming, right? We've known that is going to be happening, wouldn't you say?
Yeah. I don't know if I was 100% certain that they would just delete it.
Okay.
Right, that the insta leech would be deleted. I felt like it was probably one of the only solutions left, but I always had a little hesitation about saying, they're gonna delete it. But they did it, and it was probably one of the only ways they could deal with it. So.
Okay. Do you think? I mean, I know we're going to talk about item change, but I think it's just in this particular case worth bringing up. Do you think that acuities? Do you think that is just going to be or is it going to be a casualty of just a different era? We just they have to just. I mean, she's no longer the top fight in the game, I guess. At this point.
I would say she still is in terms of difficulty.
Right. I guess that's.
She's the most lethal of all the encounters we have still. Will acuities just be like the casualty of that? For now, at least.
Right.
I wouldn't be. I feel like they are recognizing that we like chase uniques, and they would probably still want to maintain a good chase unique on Uber Red series. So maybe not right now, but I would be surprised if going forward that they're going to leave that encounter without a good chase unique. And so if acuities become completely like everyone forgets about them, then they will probably be subject to change over time, I would assume.
So do you think that this was a good change overall, though, the Vol Pack change?
Yeah.
In terms of okay.
Right, it's the right change. It can't, especially with Reflect as well. Like it's okay.
So then talk about Reflect, since they kind of go hand in hand. So talk about it.
Yeah, well, they also made it so that we don't really have reflect in the game anymore. At least the only reflect we have now is reflect you can expect, right? So mirror, like at series mirror, still reflect. The map mod reflect will still be there. You can see it, right? It's like this entire map has reflect. Oh, okay. And then there are also what's it called? The race course boss with reflect. So everything is like it's either on like a boss fight or it's explicitly like stated this has reflect. And so yeah, that's they couldn't really wait, how does it go? How does that go? So if you have reflect, you need wall pact, right? But you can't remove reflect without. Oh well, you can remove reflect and not remove wall pact. But then wall pact is not as necessary. But even then, there's so many things that wall pact does that's just this is not good in the game because it yields you so much recovery, and recovery is a stat that has to be balanced between all the different types of recovery, and it just wasn't. So it just had to go with how much damage we're doing now.
Yeah. I mean, maybe the argument is that if they're adjusting Volpact now, they feel comfortable in making reflect.
Yeah.
What it is, it's interesting. It has been in one sense, it's been nice just the last 3 months where I just sort of didn't play PoE.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing that I think is interesting to sort of reflect on, pun a little bit, is that even if people don't like what reflect is, I do think that it brought some good discussion, theory crafting, what you had to deal with. It was that was sort of that speed bump to the game. So if we don't like that as a speed bump, then okay, that's fine. The question is, what is going to be, what is the speed bump that people are going to, want to deal with? So I think, I think we can sort of give them a chance to sort of show us where they think it's going to go, or like what they think is the new thing. Because when they changed, I thought it was a good change when they made reflect no longer an aura.
Yeah, it was just a single target. Yeah.
Yeah, because that I felt like the aura, you got into situations where you can't really see the aura, but it's affecting monsters on your screen, and you're over here and you hit it, and then you're like, okay.
Yeah.
So I mean that was reflecting the right change, but now it's come down to, and I mean the single monster. Weren't there problems with that where? Was it based off the main hand damage of the monster? I don't really remember.
No. Reflect was just a percentage of your damage done to it. That's all.
Okay, fine. But then, so what was the issue? I guess if there was a cannot
the main
die
hand,
totem?
The main hand stuff was that was for volatiles.
For volatiles, okay.
Yeah.
Right.
And for cannot die. Yes, that's always been an issue, but that's been an issue since forever with any type of reflect. Both the packs as well. Those even worse when we had complete packs that you couldn't even just kill off some of them. No, all of them stayed and you reflected all of them. So
yeah. I always think of talk about dating myself. I always think of, oh my God, I can't think of his name now. The guy who listened to metal music and played Rangers. God, what was his name? He's a streamer too.
Oh
my God, I'm embarrassing myself.
I know who it is.
Anyway,
Reign of Eris as well all the time, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, Reign of Eris. The Reign of Eris guy, because he died.
Gangsta Boo. There you go.
Gangsta Boo. Yes, Gangsta Boo. He died on a reflect pack with the cannot die on a character that basically was immortal.
Yeah.
But the only way to die was that specific scenario where he had 10,000 health. He had a lion eyes and a combs and all that.
It wasn't the only way to die, but it was definitely the most common and lethal way, I would say.
Right.
To get
you set up your character where it's like really nothing should kill you. Yeah. Anyway, so I think overall, what our opinion is positive on this. I mean, I'm nervous a bit about the change, but okay, I'm willing to give it a shot and see what's going on.
Yeah.
Because it does feel like, as we sort of gracefully transition here too, with some of the gem changes and some of the things that are going on, they're trying to rein in some of the absurdity was the way I put it. I was going to say, it was interesting as sort of reading some of this stuff, how I expected something like Summon Raging Spirits to get a bit of a nerf, and it didn't really seem like they didn't really seem like they got. I don't know. It just seems like a very easy.
It's strong. It did get
strong.
A little nerf 3.1 or 3.0, right? Just a little before, and I think that was enough to just bring it out of its kind of absurd state it was in just before.
Yeah. So in that sense, I think that and I'm not saying that I was crying about it like it needed to be nerfed. I was just expecting it. So I think
you did get a little nerf as well this time.
They nerfed Baron. Fire or something?
No, Baron.
And the Baron, right.
That's a big nerf on SRS, because that was like the go-to helmet for SRS.
Sure. And so, it's interesting how reading some people's comments, of course, like as always, people are, seems like they're 50-50 on everything. But it does seem like they're really making an effort, at least this particular time, to, I don't know, bring everything to a certain level. I don't know if you got that impression. Like, what were your thoughts on something? Like, were there anything that stood out to you in terms of the gem changes? They reworked lightning tendrils, right?
Oh, so on all the gem changes, there hadn't been too many this time around, which was a little bit disappointing, I would say. Lightning tendril seems to be interesting. Okay. They added some AoE to a few gems.
Right.
And our favorite one, Static Strike. There's been a little bit of controversy on that. I don't think so on the whole gem change, and if we're talking about like the whole +1 gem change,
right?
I feel like that's blown a little bit out of proportion, because small changes actually do matter. If you've ever min-maxed a build and you're like trying to make it really nice and solid, getting that last 1 or 2 radius actually makes stuff nice to play. I noticed that especially when I played, so I was playing Dark Pact, and I got Carcass Jack on, and Carcass Jack gave me 1 extra AoE in my Dark Pact, and it made it feel just a little bit nicer, right? It just I didn't have to like move that often anymore. There was like a break point to where I would position myself on the screen would match up much better with where I would hit the monsters. So just a small extra, like 1 or 2 radius, actually matters quite a bit. Even though you don't visually see it, when you play it, that's where it comes. Like that's where you notice it. Is it enough on like Static Strike? I think Static Strike is getting a huge buff from the Ancestral Call. So without having tried out Ancestral Call, you can't really say that it's not been buffed enough this time around. So small changes are good. I think there are definitely skills out there that need bigger overhauls for it to be justified. Like you can't just take a skill. I feel like it's kind of pointless taking a skill that's viewed as being useless in the community, and then you bump it up just a little bit, Glacial Hammer, and then expect that becomes more of an insult than anything, I feel. So there are definitely skills they have to bump them up quite a bit before they actually see play and people get excited about them.
Right. I mean, clearly with something like Static Strike, obviously they are worried about, that as we saw when they changed the AoE, there's a tipping point where all of a sudden you're static striking the entire screen, and then I guess that becomes your Command and Conquer's Ion Blast from orbit, and they don't want that. I would think so. I think people also don't really, maybe they don't think about it. Isn't it? It's pi r squared, right? For changes in radius. So that means that if you change the radius by 2, it's 12 times the size. If I'm doing my math right. So, a little more than that. So, I don't know, what that works out to percentage wise, but it's, if you look at that website, and we don't have a link for it, but whatever that AoE website that came out when they were doing the AoE changes was 2.5 or 2.6. And I'm sure if you Google Path of Exile AoE visual something, and you can punch in the values, you can see how big the circle gets very quickly as you fiddle with it. So I mean, it seems like it's interesting how people get really, really upset at this point about. It's weird because I understand why said if something's not nerfed, where you're like, wow, I really don't want to play Flame Blast anymore, but Flame Blast is still the best skill. To me, that's I get that annoyance when something is a skill that's kind of a niche skill, and I don't want to diss people who like playing Static Strike. I think it's a fine skill. I remember when it came out, I thought it was great. This is how they're going to. At this point, this is how they're going to adjust that skill, because if they feel like they're missing a niche, right, they're just going to design a new skill. They're not going to change Static Strike, right? It seems like very rarely are they going to work the skill, only when the base mechanic is completely changed, like channeling, right? So they rework Tendrils because it should have been a channel, so now they're making it a channel skill. So anyway, and I was looking through it last night a little bit. What else did I see in terms of, just on a personal note, just, scanning, and I saw this when the patch notes came out. I saw Iron Will can now support Summon Skeleton and will affect the damage dealt by Skeleton mages. And I was like, oh, interesting. But then they nerfed Baron. So I guess I
still good though.
Still good though. So yeah, part of me wants to get the fucking strength. I don't even know what would be a funny name for a bunch of idiot skeletons, but they all get hard. They hit hard as fuck. Somehow you have 2,000 strength and they just go nuts. Anyway, I like. Sounds interesting. Is there a cap on the number of skeletons you can have up? Is it 5 or something? 4?
I think 10.
Or 10? Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
I think you can have more if you invest heavily into it. You can get +1 on the chest if you want that. I know you can get +1 boot. You can get a lot of it on the tree and stuff like that. So you can get 12 or something, I think, total. Most people go with around 10, I think. A good even number is always nice because you echo it, right? So you do 2 at a time.
Right, you do 2 at a time. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Anyway, that could be a further into the league build as we find out what some of these elder and shaper items. Yeah, there's the other thing. Not to jump around, but when I see 12% increased attributes on a random rare belt, I'm like, oh, okay, interesting. Anyway, so all right, is there a particular gem that you would be super excited about if you had to pick one?
Right now, super excited about? I don't know about that. I think interactions is more what I'm excited about. I think DD. Did you see the change? Whoa.
Yeah. So maybe we should just talk about it, because I have not played DD, even though I feel like I know it since it was just around for so long. But what did they change in 2.0? Somewhere in 2.0, didn't they change DD initially? Because they nerfed it to nothing, where you couldn't use it.
Yeah. I don't remember the changes on DD. I have not played it enough.
Okay, so I'm going to look it up here. Detonate Dead, because this is very important, I feel like, to get, because looking at the gem now, I was like, wow, this seems very strong, but
I think one thing I just want to cover before we go over the whole all the DD skills, just on the 2 minion skills. So one thing, I feel like I've seen a little bit of a misconception on the strength of the buffs, both for skeletons and SRS, because there was actually a buff to both of those skills, which was skeletons had 70% damage effectiveness of added damage. It's now 150. So that means it's essentially it's like 115% increase to any added damage that you add to skeletons.
Okay.
But if you want to put some perspective on it, you had before anger, if you did a full spec with skeletons, you added anger to it, it gave you a 10% increase. Now it's 21 if you add the anger, which for an aura, adding that amount is not that great. It's something that becomes really good in a group. Say you didn't put anger in yourself, and now you're grouping with someone that uses anger. That's really massive, especially if you would need an aura bot and all that, right? That could be pretty insane. Same thing goes for SRS. Nobody played added damage SRS before. Nobody. It was everyone used hatred and all the fist conversion and all that kind of stuff, right? Nobody used flat auras. The only time you used flat auras was only because of the poison and the sword, but that was because of the poison. It's not because you got the flat aura. It was literally just because you had the fist damage, the poison, and you get some chaos, and double dipping was OP and all that. So that's why they did it. It's not because the additive damage was actually the OP part. That's also why people go for minion damage with Baron and stacking strength, and they don't go more auras, because they would rather have a percentage increase on the flat increased damage rather than additive damage that doesn't do that much. So it opens up that kind of build now, but it's not immediately OP. It's just, it might end up being an equally good route for two different, for the same build, but two different routes now.
Wait, so explain to me what actually happened. They buffed how much auras affect minions?
No, they buff how much additive damage affect minions. Okay. So if you put it have you ever seen anyone put added lightning on their SRS? No, obviously because it's banned. Because the amount of damage increase, the relative amount of increase you get for added lightning versus a multiplicative increase is just not high enough. That's why they buffed the additive damage increase on SRS, so it had more of an impact. That doesn't mean it doesn't mean that everyone's going to use added lightning now. Some might try it out, and we get so you can get the Envy aura on an Elder or Shaper neck, right? So you can get extra auras now with flat damage and stuff like that. So there's more there's more opportunities for different variations of the build, but I don't think it's going to be stronger than the current variations. They might be equal to that.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I must have missed that change. Where where was that noted that minions were having? Is it specific to minions that change is happening?
No, it's specific to the gems.
Oh, because it's of damage effectiveness?
Yeah, damage effectiveness on summon skeletons, and damage effectiveness on SRS.
Okay, fine, that makes sense. Yeah, because it's interesting to note. I wonder. I guess we just have to see what people come up with, because I can't really envision a scenario where the added damage would ever be better, but I guess it's not as bad now. So
no, it's actually okay. It's a valid. I would say it's a valid option now, and right. it benefits if you're ever running in a group with people that has wrath and anger and stuff like that, or envy aura.
Right. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So then, was there a gem that you are most disappointed in? In terms of,
ooh, man, I don't think there's any gem I'm disappointed in right now.
Okay.
Everything they're releasing, all of it seems good.
Okay.
Volley is kind of a meme. I feel it might have some potential. I don't want to be the guy discounting it, because I think just controlling how your arrows fly out might actually be good. But apart from that, it's
Okay. I'm going to have to probably I will decline to answer what I don't like about the gems, I would say, at this point. So
okay,
for various NDA reasons, any of the things. I will say though that it is interesting that this seems to be a body, let the bodies hit the floor sort of gem theme.
Yeah, it is.
Patch. Okay. Now, do you think that's because Abyss is going to be throwing bodies at us everywhere?
Maybe.
Okay.
Could be.
I
also think it's they've probably been looking at how can we create more interesting playstyles.
Right.
Because they've been taking. I actually like the fact that they're actually introducing min or DD style gems, right, where you explode the corpses, because it's not a mechanic a lot of people have been interacting with before, right? That was only the DD gem, right? That's the only thing we could do before. Now we have Cremation and Volatile Dead and all these other styles of which has you can either scale with spell damage or just the fire damage portion, and you kind of have to choose. And I like that because they've been taking away Ignite, and they took away double dipping, and all these mechanics have been taken away, and now they're adding like a slew of new a new option that you can go for, right? And new things to explore. And I think it comes at a really good time. So I think that's a very good choice of releasing those style of gems now.
Right. I think that I really like the way the is it cremation? What's the one where you make the body is where and it becomes a glowing orb like volatile?
It's volatile. That's volatile dead.
That's volatile dead. Okay, so volatile dead to me ticks the box of like, and it's been the first gem in a long time that ticked the box of wow. I kind of want to make something with that. I will say, I'm still surprised at this point that we don't have more things. Okay, so let me say, whether or not the mechanic is good or not, or designed well, I think that we have to play from 3 weeks or something to know. But so just forget about that. I like the idea of we can have orbs and we fire orbs at things, right?
Okay, yeah.
And so we don't have a cold orb, right? I mean, I guess we have Frostbolt.
I guess it's
sort of. We don't have a spinning, almost like, what do I think? Like an ice orb that you fire and it spins and shoots shards out. I just came up with that.
Ice frozen orb?
Orb? Yeah, wow. I mean, just off the top of my head, we should be game designers. But anyway, no, I like the way it looks, and I like the way I think there's a lot of potential there. It's too bad because the part of it to me that sounds really cool, which is you click it 1,000 times and you've got like 400 orbs on your screen, and then you run along and all the orbs follow you, and then they just zoom like a bunch of, I don't know what, suicidal lemmings and hit the boss and kill it in a millisecond. Obviously, they're not going to allow something. There's a range on the how far the orb will travel, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But I really like the underlying concept. Will having to summon corpses and then do the ball thing, will that be annoying? I guess you could totem that, right? You could totem summoning corpses, I'm assuming, in one form or another. Anyway, so there's just some, I don't know. To me, it seems very, very cool. I like that in concept. I like making the fire orb and it goes and it blows something up.
Yeah.
On the other hand, though, the changes to some of this stuff, your spell damage does not affect it. Let me find.
Well, okay. So I think there's a very good reason to why spell damage does not affect the corpse explosion.
Okay.
It's because corpse explosion is if you give too many options of scaling a percentage damage type, right? So you explode a percentage of the monster's health. If that ever reaches 100, then it does 100% of its damage as fire damage.
Sure. But you can't scale. But I mean, you cannot scale the life portion of it, right? Or am I wrong?
The life portion? What do you mean? Oh yeah, you can. You can make the 3% of monster's health. You can definitely scale that with area damage, with fire damage, anything but spell damage.
Everything but spell damage.
It's just
right,
you can't allow like control destruction to work with it either.
Right.
It just you can't allow too many multipliers because then it just gets out of hand. We've seen, like, if you remember the bears as well.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy. I know. Yeah, you can use traps and mines as well. That adds like a lot of clunkiness to it, so it might not be worth it.
And then I guess we should talk about how Detonate Dead was reworked, because it seems like a lot of people are very, very hype about it. So what are your thoughts?
Well, I think it's absolutely nuts. In terms, like, if you just look at the raw numbers, it's nuts, right? If you detonate one corpse, it does more than I'm pretty sure it does more. Let me make sure to check here. I just want to see how much is Fireball in terms of damage. So Fireball is at level 20, 700 to 1100, right? 740 to 1109. Okay. DD is like 1400 top end. Like, wasn't it like 800 or 900 to 1400 100, I think. So it's a good chunk better than one fireball, right? So that's pretty good. Plus the fact that it also gets the corpse damage, and it's in one cast, and it has higher cast time and the same crit chance. Oh, it's 1250 top end. Okay, so it's still more than a fireball with better cast time. So if you can like prep the boss we can really prep the boss, then you have some potential for some serious damage. Especially if you go into a like very high level map, you get lucky, you get some golems, right? You get some golem roll to desecrate, get that on the boss. You don't have to get that many crits to just insta-gip the boss.
Right.
So that's pretty nutty.
Do you think that what's going to be effective playstyle playing with Detonate Dead, since you're not getting as much of the prolif burn thing going on? I mean, I guess you're still getting that, but I'm just saying in terms of clearing packs.
Yeah, that's the question, right? Because it is a two-step.
It's a two-step,
right? You have to desecrate first or unearth. Right. If there's any way we can like automate the corpse generation, that has a very high potential. I had like a few other ideas as well, right? You do some kind of like cast on melee kill, sunder, body swap. That's the difference. Like, that's the way. So you would sunder into a pack, it would kill some of the pack, and you would immediately body swap into it and blow it up, right? That's like some things you could do to like automate it a little bit more. So I don't know.
Yeah, because I was wondering, there's no reason to Scorching Ray, cast on channeling, desecrate, detonate dead. I mean, I guess that'd be...
you could do something like that.
Yeah. So...
Like we'll see how it goes. Figuring out the best solution. I think a lot of people are just gonna go with like Echo Desecrate for bossing, or at least maybe just Desecrate and then maybe Echo Desecrate for bossing to generate more corpses, and then you just start the chain somewhere, and then you just hope that it's gonna like carry over all the time, so you can just corpse explode the next corpse to explode the next corpse to explode the next corpse, right? And it just kind of goes like that. So the denser maps are, the better it becomes. So maybe indoor maps is like the best thing ever for Desecrate or for DD. So we'll see.
Okay. Now, I guess I feel like I've missed a little bit from this last league. I see people talking about Kinetic Blast, I'm assuming, all the time with Wanders. Is that still stupid? Like, is it stupid or something? Because
it's one of the best clearing spells in the game, if not the best.
Right, because isn't that's what Gucci and Steel and whatever did, not for the most recent 10 days, but the previous one?
Yeah.
Right.
They did it for 3.1 or 3.0. We did it we had Havoc running KB in Turmoil.
Right.
Yeah.
But does it only really reach that effectiveness if supports?
But what? If you have supports?
Yeah.
Well, it's one of the skills that benefits the most from supports, but if you've noticed all the Vol Power Siphon characters out there, they do like 1.5 screen clears every time they press, and then they run to the next 1.5 screen and they click again.
Right.
It's very close to like Vol Spark and Vol Fireball. No, I don't think it's as fast as those were, but it's not far from it.
Okay.
You're a lot weaker though in terms of like total health pool versus those builds. So that's kind of where it's not as good, I would say.
Okay. Well, I'm interested to see. I think to me that's the best part, and it always has been the best part of PoE is that what the community comes up with. And I mean, of course, there's a pro and a con. The pro is it's really cool to see what goes on. The con is when what somebody comes up with is absurd. Like let's just say, there's a scenario where somebody does figure out a way to shield charge around, and that creates corpses and then detonates. And so then you just literally the whole map explodes. And like on a boss, you summon a totem and then shield charge around, so the boss like can almost never hit you, but you're exploding the shield.
Mm-hmm.
Then, of course, then it gets ruined, and no one else can ever play because the GGG has to remove it because it's so OP. But I mean, to me, that's the fun. There's a lot of fun in that sort of roller coaster ride.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited with some of this stuff because it does seem like it's going to be harder to summit because there's 2 clicks, right? So that's people want to remove 2 clicks as much as possible.
Yeah.
Right now in PoE.
Yeah.
So can we get it to 1? What is the 1-click wonder that makes the Detonate Dead build go? Anyway, so
I don't think Detonate Dead will ever reach that. I think just how tanky you can make a build around that build and how much potential damage there is for little investment is where it's going to shine. So you can get super tanky, especially in high maps, because the base damage scales. The higher map you go to, the higher health of the monster you get. And so it just keeps scaling up the higher you go. So it's just going to be I think it could be an end game like monster.
Okay.
If you build it right.
Right. All right. Well, we will see. I guess there is some gem that they've said that they is not ready. It's not released, and I guess I wonder. I think that somebody was saying that to me, and I think
could be. Is there one left? I know Mirage Archer came out, and then I'm not sure.
Because how many gems? They said there were going to be 12 new gems, right? Because there's only 11 new gems on this screen when I'm looking at new gems of War for the Atlas. Anyway, it's fine. We'll see what ends up happening.
There's one left. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So from there, we should probably talk about some of the item changes. We kind of talked about acuities a little bit.
Well, let's quickly go over like the last ones, and we can just give us a quick opinion on them.
Oh, the last gems you mean?
Yeah. It's just like briefly touched on all of them. Yeah.
Well, just on a personal note, I was actually very interested in the storm barrier one. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where you're sacrificing quite a lot. I feel like
not necessarily.
But not necessarily, right? Because if it's...
I'll throw something out here for you.
Okay.
Crit DP totems with their storm barrier.
So you're channeling Wither, and you're just letting your totems go crazy, basically.
And you're tanky and generating power charges at the same time.
Okay. But your power charges affect the totems, right?
Yes. So you can generate power charges without having to go anywhere. You just stand there.
Right.
It's one thing you can do it. Like that was the most obvious usage for me, at least.
Sure. Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, because when I looked at it and I was saying that's that is definitely I would have said in the Moore's wheelhouse in terms of standing still, letting things hit you.
Or you only get charges when you get hit. Someone's saying.
Yeah, so it doesn't work on block. So unfortunately for that type of build that I like to make, it's only when you.
I wonder what you do then. You can still do the wither thing. You would just have to get hit, I guess.
Yeah, you have to stand there and let something hit you, basically.
Yeah, okay, so. Maybe not as good for that. I don't know. Well, maybe there's something. There's probably some other thing you can do.
Do the worms hit you when you poop out the worms from whatever?
No.
Or do they just sit there?
Just sit there.
I've seen it used. I don't think I've ever used it.
I wonder if you can like hit yourself.
I think
there's like the hitless and all that kind of stuff.
Right. Isn't most of that though you do damage to yourself? You're not actually hitting yourself.
I think you can hit yourself. Like you need to hit yourself if you're doing like Skull's Bridle and constant damage taking setups and Immortal Cold setup, or not. What's it called? The fire thing you hit yourself on.
But you take damage, and that's cast on damage taken. You're taking damage, but I don't think you're being hit, right?
I think some of these things count as a hit.
Okay.
I'm not sure exactly how all these mechanics work. Some of them act differently than others.
Right. Okay. So Storm Barrier, and then why don't we just do Cremation and Body Swap?
Okay.
Right, because they're both kind of the same, not the same thing, but they take a corpse and you either you transfer with the corpse, right? That's body swap, and then cremation makes the volcano, right? Yes.
Yes.
So, what do you think? What do you think about either of them?
Okay, cremation has potential for like a decent map clear and good single target potential. Like it scales from everything. It's like a spell and fire, AoE, projectile, duration. It has like everything. So that's like if you can fit every multiplier into the game, you can fit like, you can just everything applied to it, and then it does a lot of damage, I guess. So we'll see how that's definitely it has potential. We'll see how it plays out. I think it's like, well, is it how many people do we see running around with Firestorm, right? Because kind of the same mechanic. But it does have instantaneous damage though with the whole DD mechanic, so it might be okay. So now you have like some instant damage plus a very high damage potential on like all the things flying out. So that's potentially very good.
Right. Still a two. It's still a two. It's a two clicker. So then, but this one to me though, when I looked at it, I agree with you because it's kind of like, okay, so yeah, you have to click twice, but then if you get your numbers high enough, you summon one of those in a pack and just keep running.
Yeah, and it just goes like off screen maybe almost, right?
Yeah. So
kill something somewhere else. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then body swap. I'm interested. What's
body swap is like kind of interesting. It's good damage on it, right? So the damage is pretty good for a teleporting skill. I think that matters a lot. So like that's where like the whole thunder and you swap in that kind of stuff, right? You go full fire thunder into like more fire damage on the body swap, and it's like kind of there's some meme builds coming out there. Also just as a mobility skill for anyone using Unearth, you can like target Unearth anywhere, and you have like corpses like every like a few places around the. Because I was thinking like you would make an EK build and then would use Unearth a single target, and then that would just create corpses that you can't use. And so now you have a mobility skill for that.
Right.
You could do that, or you could just use a devouring totem. Because if there's like 10 corpses all the time, it just has something to devour all the time.
Yeah, and refund. I mean, I guess the question would be if you're making a build, a more EK centric build, does body swap still do a fair bit of damage? Because I'm assuming you're tanky, maybe a little bit, and you therefore the percentage of your life into the fire damage. But I guess if you're not scaling it, I don't know. But maybe you're scaling spell damage. Anyway, I'm interested to see what people come up with that. It's not something. It's not something that I personally would use for anything other than, I guess, the occasional mobility. But that doesn't mean that 3 weeks from now it's not going to be the thing that's shitting on whatever the current super boss is by some random thing. So I'm always prepared. Always prepared for that. It does seem also that the other thing people are very excited about is the Ancestral Call support.
Yeah, for all the melee skills.
I will refrain to comment on this one, so you can go ahead and say what you think.
For any skill that already has good single target, and the only thing it lacked was like good AoE abilities, I think it's good. Right, so Lightning Strike might be suffering a little bit from actually getting some decent clear, because you have this like weird cone and it only goes like somewhere, and there's pebbles in the middle, and you kind of have to reposition. Same thing like Wild Strike. What can you scale with Wild Strike that makes your AoE go faster or be better? The only thing I can really see is more attack speed and more targets to hit, because you can't like if you scale the AoE, then you don't scale any other things. You can't really scale the arc very well. You can't, so you're always like stuck with like you scale a third of it. But with the Ancestral Call, you just create mirrors of yourself, and you actually just have more targets hitting at the same time. And then you can always swap that gem for like Ruthless or any other like red gem. I guess it's a red gem, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so you just swap that for anything else on single target, and you're good to go.
When I was looking at this skill, I definitely, I don't know if it's just the wording or my brain, but reading the second part, they go, if supporting a minion attack skill, the minion skills will not also attack multiple targets. So I was like, okay.
It's only meant for you, for the player, right?
Right. But so what I was like is, why doesn't it just say does not work with minions?
I don't know.
So what am I missing about that whole gobbledygook?
Oh.
Because I mean, it's
Oh, that's
so
only
such a
for dominating blow?
so dominating
If you're
blow.
dominating blow ancestral call, they don't inherit it.
Oh, so that they would just okay.
Or
Because
does it mean you can use it with dominating blow, so they actually inherit it? Oh, or is it that it's used? Wait, can you read that to me again, or like write it in
read the whole
Discord, the
thing again.
Discord chat? Yeah, just read what it says.
If supporting a minion attack skill, the minion skills will not also attack multiple targets.
Oh, dominating blow, yeah, because it's a minion attack skill.
Right. But that, I mean, the thing is,
and then the minions don't get ancestral call.
Right. But then, does this mean it works with SRS?
No, I don't think so.
Because it's not a support melee attack.
Maybe it works. I don't know.
Attack skills also target 2 nearby enemies. Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Anyway,
I would not assume so, but now you got me. Now you got him. Now I'm wondering. I don't know. I don't think, but I think I think it can only work on attack skills, like actual attack skills, not minion skills. But I don't know. Maybe melee specters.
I thought they attacked, right?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Maybe it works. I don't know. Maybe it works.
Okay. All right. Whatever. Anyway, we'll see.
Okay. Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah. What have we not covered? There's an unearth.
Yeah.
You wanted to talk about that?
It's like a 1 projectile EK with like 25% more damage, and it creates a corpse.
Right.
With a higher travel time. So I do think it could fit the EK single target role with adding some extra utility on a boss fight, because creating that on a boss fight could actually be pretty nice.
Right.
Yeah.
Because it's interesting. You fire this thing, and you keep firing it for single target, and then when there's 10, I wonder if you could throw a trap that would explode all of the corpses around the boss.
Oh, you could do that, yeah.
Yeah. So, anyway,
you can GMP it. You can create like 5 or 7 or even more at a time. Right. Max 10.
Right. Although doing GMP would hurt the single target.
Oh yeah, but this is only for corpse generation.
Right. Okay.
Because then you generate corpses then, right? So it can be a pure utility skill or an actual single target skill.
Right. Let's see. Was there any other ones to go over? I don't think we've talked about all. Oh, there's Spell Cascade.
Yeah.
Okay, so Spell Cascade is interesting because you're trading some damage. You're trading some damage to basically have shotgunning, sort of.
Maybe AoE shotgunning, yeah. You can create area overlap, yeah.
Yeah. So, like, what would be the best? What's going to be the best skill that this works with?
All the corpse exploding ones. If you're talking like if you're wondering about what will be, if you're wondering what will be the best kind of, what's it called? Just where can it be most OP? I would say, DD. All the corpse explosion skills. It's because if you have corpses, right, it requires a corpse. So if there's only 3 corpses and they're all next to each other, you can actually cascade all 3 and they overlap.
Right.
So that's pretty cool. All other non-corpse skills cannot overlap more than twice, unless the target is large enough that it can like stand in all 3 circles.
Okay. So I'm interested. That's another one where I said, okay, what is it? Is there going to be an application of something that, I'm not thinking of Firestorm, or I'm trying to think what else it could be, where you're going to get a massive benefit from having things shotgun. Anyway, I think that's all of the gems. They reworked vulnerability Despair, but I don't think there's not much. That's just they separated what the gems did into different things. Basically, I would have said. Okay. I think that's it. And then Dead Knight Dead we covered. Okay. So now we could talk about some item changes, because I think that's also
let's go.
interesting. And then we could obviously talk a little bit about what we've seen with Shaper and Elder. Although, have we seen Elder items? Have we?
We've seen some, yeah. Well,
Okay.
some initial Elder and Shaper items. I thought I saw some. What's that called? Some initial
Data
mining, where it seemed like some of it was nerfed already.
Okay.
All right. So there's the bow we saw with the dex, 5 to 9 cold damage per 10 dex. I saw some new numbers, which was like 3 to 5.
Okay.
Which is much more within reason, because you had just with you could create like if you got it on a thicket bow. I'm not sure if this counts for the bows or if this is just on one-handers. It could be that there's a 2-hand roll and there's a 1-hand roll.
Okay.
But we'll.
Yeah, wait a minute. If I'm doing my math right, can you get something like 1,400 dex? You could, right?
Yeah.
So that's 140 times 9. It's 1,260 top end.
Oh, you get like 1,000 plus DPS on just pure cold damage on the bow.
Okay. Interesting math there.
Like it goes even higher. You can probably push it to like a 1,500 DPS bow if that actually makes it all the way through. So.
Right. That would be crazy, but okay. I guess we'll see. Maybe it's really rare to get it.
It could be, yeah.
And then you have to obviously get some other stuff on the bow. I'm assuming maybe not. I don't know. I guess attack speed plus that is probably all you need on the bow. Okay. So we dealt with acuities being changed. I guess it's worth to note that a lot of the sort of ultra bing bong flasks out there are getting changed just because they're changing vulnerability and degen things. It doesn't see. I don't think they're getting nerfed, right? They're just changing to different curses, right? Witchfire's Despair.
Yeah, Despair seems pretty insane though. As a curse, it's minus chaos, damage over time, and flat chaos damage when you hit with it.
Right.
Or hit on it.
Yeah. And then Queen of the Forest changed.
Yes.
Which Noogie was pointing out to me last night. I had not paid attention to the movement speed bonus this item can provide has capped at 100% for all versions. So, Noogie, why don't you talk about why that's interesting, since you noticed it?
Well, I'm not the only one who noticed it. It's like it's pretty.
I'm just saying.
Well, it's. I don't know why is it interesting. I don't know if it's that interesting. I just feel like it's necessary. Like they probably have like a certain amount of movement speed they want to allow on any piece of item, right? It's the same thing with Imagine if you could scale Brightbeak for its movement properties up to say 200 increased attack speed on the Brightbeak. That would be absurd, right? You would be shield charging so fast, it's just dumb. And like Queen of the Forest is kind of the same thing, where if you keep stacking evasion, it just keeps going up. And yeah, you can't allow an item to have what essentially becomes 400% increased movement speed on one piece of gear. It's just too much.
Right.
So it's 100 is what most people ended up getting anyways, unless they were like super investing into it for like lab farming and stuff like that. And it was so invasive for lab farming that anything else was just pointless. And that's not good when there's only one item and there is only one style that you can go with.
Right.
So you need to get 24 or 45,000 evasion to get it to enable the 100. So that's still quite a bit. It's pretty easy on some things, but I know a lot of people don't like the caps. But okay, so the other option, instead of capping it, this is what you do. Now you need 2,000 evasion per movement speed. And then you ask people, would you rather have that? Because now it's balanced, right? 2,000. Then we can like keep it within, right? So now at the very top end, at the very, very top end, you could probably get 150 movement speed, and that would be okay. But how many people would use the chest? Almost nobody. Because anyone else using it, except for the few people using it for like the massive movement speed land farming, would think it's just a worthless piece of junk. Because who wants to invest into getting 100k to get an extra, like 100k evasion to get an extra 20 movement speed? Like there has to be, for it to actually be usable by the average player, they cannot just, the bonus that you get has to be obtainable some way. And they can't just, otherwise they have to nerf it completely and make it pretty much unusable for everyone else, which is not fun either. So you can either have it so you can actually use it to up to 100 movement speed, which is insane still, or you can have it so that you would have to get 5 times as much, and then you would pretty much never use it because you would find another option. But it would be okay to have in the game.
But so I guess the point was there must have been people who were exploiting it. Was it primarily for lab farmers that they were exploiting it? Where they, the zoom through the thing in a millisecond that I saw people like Gucci doing? Or
I think Gucci had like 600 and something.
Okay, right.
Speed.
So, yeah. So anyway, interesting change. I guess the most, I don't know if it's, I'm just sort of judging. It seems like the most significant changes are Rise of the Phoenix lost its maximum fire resistance granted bonus. So it went from 8 to 5. I guess the guy who won did he win solo self-found or did he win the regular of the most recent, was it Mayhem? Whatever the most recent league was. He was RF.
Oh, right? That guy? Yeah, he didn't use the shield.
He didn't use the shield.
No.
Okay. So, but I guess they felt that was too much power granted by that one item.
I think it was just too enabling. So, Ayla or something, he was running a cultist. It was pretty much a mayhem-centered build. It was it's very smart, right? The more monsters that are around, the more percent regen recently you get. So it makes sense, right? You always skip the boss. You just do the boxes, click, and then you have a ton of regen every time, or tons of evasion things all over. You just like kind of roop in a circle, and then RF it all down, and then you're like constant like 8,000 regen or whatever. So no, the build was really good. RF is still amazingly strong. So this will be only a minor bump in how hard it is to get off the ground.
Yep.
That's it. You're going to do more damage by using the shield, by the way, because it has life on it now. So that will actually grant you a little bit more damage.
Yep. And then they reduced, to me, they reduced the drop rate of Biscos.
Yes, significantly.
Significantly. So that's an interesting, I think that's really interesting. I've never personally used it because I almost always someone in the group has one that I'm playing with. So I'm just like, okay, that person can deal with it. And it was, I will say the most experience I had with it was farming Chayula breaches in Legacy, right? That was a league after Breach. With Waggle, he had it on his bow character, and it was unbelievably noticeable whether it was on or off. Yeah. I actually would have said we averaged when he had it on.
Doesn't breach this, right?
Yes, in the Chayula breach stone, in the Chayula instance.
in the realm.
Yeah. In the realm, we averaged an exalt, and I mean an exalt dropping every single run that he had the Biscos on. I mean, we were 6-manning the thing, so obviously
and that helps as well. Yeah,
helps as well. With it off, I mean, it was just so noticeable the difference. And he wasn't getting all the kills, right? I mean, he was
probably getting all the trash monster kills, right?
He was getting a lot of the trash monster kills, yes.
Which is what matters. Sure. It doesn't matter. He doesn't have to touch the rares ever, right? Because it doesn't do anything for that.
No. So he's getting all the trash kills because his character's firing off screen. I mean, it's interesting to note. I do think that there were times where we got no drops because things were killed so far off screen. I don't know if that's really how that works. There'd be these times where it'd just be like, there's nothing on the ground and there's monsters dead really far away. But anyway, doesn't matter. Those one or two times, out of 10 instances where there was a weird thing, the rest of the time it was fucking crazy. So I'm not surprised that they nerfed it. I'm actually still surprised that it was ever introduced to the game in the first place, to be perfectly honest. But
yeah, it's an interesting item. It's an interesting item to introduce when they've removed quantity gem and all the quantity from gear and all that. But I also think it might have been because they might have recognized that people kind of missed MFing. I think people enjoy MFing in general.
I like that's what I used to do.
Yeah,
I used to make an MF character every league.
Yeah.
And like I don't do that anymore. So yeah, that was I mean, I think it's the right thing.
Yeah,
it's the right thing. This is the interesting part. So they don't like all that stuff, right? Move it, and then instead of, I don't know, gradually adding stuff back, which I guess they kind of have been with some of the flasks and some things. They just add an item that makes it so you only have to add that one item. It's like I don't know, like that's such a puzzling. I kind of want to be a fly on the wall developer discussion, because it's like, oh, we don't like this, and then someone say, yeah, but if you really want to make an MF character, you have to kind of min max your character, right?
I think the problem with Biscos is also just how it affected like the meta of PoE, because it's enforcing the skip the boss and anything that takes time kind of idea. And we were already kind of doing that, so that was kind of a downhill slope of kind of the way they pushed how people should play with introducing items like that. I think that's why this league is going to be so much better, because we have so many other options that are tied to actually killing hard content. That's where we get all the cool stuff now. It's just not loot and killing the like all the quick stuff. That's not where you get everything. You have to kill the Breach Lords and the Lich and all the Elder stuff, and you can't just shape your Atlast as well as before, and shaping is going to be harder to do now, and so all these things will make it less appealing to use Biscos, essentially.
Right. And then, of course, they nerfed Baron, which we talked about a little bit. It seems like it was almost required nerf.
Yeah, it's a bit too powerful for its slot.
Yeah, and I mean, it was the guy who designed it, Tanko.
Yeah,
I remember him talking.
Oh, that's
about
him. Who does that? Is he on Twitch as well? Tango PoE.
Tango PoE. Exactly.
Oh, that's him. Okay.
Yeah, he's the one who designed it. And I remember him he was showing me early versions and saying how much I was going to like it. And I mean, for sure, because I mean, it's strength and it's pretty insane. And there was all this theory crafting and all these builds, and I was like, wow, the investment. So it was on my list of things to do. And then people figured out that you don't really need to go too nuts investing to be able to get to where it's just fucking broken. And again, I think that's what the problem was. I actually think it's a really well designed item. Maybe dropped too frequently, level 28. I guess we could have a discussion about that. The problem became, and I think this is Iron Will has for a long time been a source of this problem, where if the tipping point is 1,000 strength, let's just say, picking a number, that's pretty balanced. So you need to get above 1,000 to truly get a crazy benefit. Say above 800, you get a good benefit. But when you only need to get like 400 or 500 strength, and the thing's insane, like, okay, a build that's level 90 that's on the side of the tree has like 385 strength by default, almost. So yeah, I think it was just based on some of the math, and I don't really know the math. I just listened to Uber talking about it, and so yeah, I think that was seems like it was a good change. It's a shame if people really liked it the way it was. I understand.
I could see it coming back though, if GGG wanted to address the whole summoner and minion meta, because the problem is not only on Baron. The problem actually persists also on the ascendancies, because what ascendancy do you do if you want to do any kind of minion build? And you cannot do elementalists anymore with the AFK just kill yourself golems. That's gone. That is gone. Yes. So the elementalist is no longer an option, because that was like the one like meme build you could do. So yeah, necromancer. It's the only option. Anyone saying you can, I know that the Crip made the whole like guardian and everything, and it was a cute build, but it's never gonna be enough damage. Like it's never gonna beat out Necro, because Necro offers you the one thing there's a lack of on the tree, which is minion damage.
Yes, 180%.
Yes. And that is why Baron is so strong, because minion damage is scarce on the tree. And so therefore it has, right, the strength of that one item is so much higher. So they could actually bring it back to being a more benefit from that thing, right? Where you would stack strength if they introduced more minion damage on the tree. So we'll see if they ever do that.
Yeah, and the minions being played the most recently in terms of this stuff. It's interesting that you say that, because I do think that this is where the concept of ascendancy, I don't want to say falls short. It's where they have concentrated too much power in it, and then it feels like you're saying they'd have to just almost rework. And I mean, maybe that's what they'll do.
Maybe
rework it a little bit, because you really should be able to make, say, a Inquisitor minion build. Let's say,
for sure.
Does Consecrate buff the minions if they're standing in it?
It should probably heal them.
Okay, so we're just saying, throwing it out there. You should 100% minion damage, and okay, Necromancer has 150 because it's specific. But there's minion damage on the tree, but it has 50% on the ascendancy. All right, that's fine. But I think it's 180 in Necromancer itself, and the rest of the tree has like 60, or is it Necromancer has 120 and the rest of the tree is 60? I don't really remember the numbers. I'm pretty sure I remember the number being 180, 15. Yes, I mean you get
depends
60,
on what you take and
what you take. Yeah, I mean there's 90 and then increased damage. You get that's you. Anyway, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I only know it off the top of my head because to solve.
You're falling out a little bit more, by the way.
I'm falling out.
Yeah. It goes mute every now and then.
Oh, I'm sorry. There's like a formula to solve the number of golems versus the number of jewels versus whatever, and of course it really matters how much minion damage you have for this as the base. And so you, like, in terms of if you're doing a golem build, there's not, you have to play Necromancer. There's no option, obviously. And so it just seems like I haven't done the math for everything, but obviously that applies across all minion types, all minion builds, all whatever. So anyway, we'll have to see. I guess we'll see what ends up happening. Do you think the Baron is going to be something that people don't use now, or it's just
no, people use it?
Okay.
It's still strong. Like there's plenty of builds that just by the kind of default gets around 400 or 500 strength without even trying. Especially with you can get the percentage, right? Because what do you need on the belt, for instance, on a minion build? Nothing, right? You don't really need anything. You need life, and then you can get percentage strength, right? So easy, you bump that up, and if you can get to a point where. Right. So how Bone Helmet is what? Right, it gives you +2, and 40. If you get to 1,000, you can like leech with your zombies, and like there's plenty of things you can do with it. So yeah, it's still easy to like. It doesn't require that much to make it better than the Bone Helmet, but the Bone Helmet can get like the Bone Helmets are just stronger now, obviously, because you can get all sorts of other stats on there. So I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. Okay.
It's still strong.
Yeah. So speaking of some of the things we're going to be doing, to switch topics a little bit, I know we've been talking about how we've really wanted something endgame for quite a while, and here we go. So there's War of the Atlas.
Yeah.
There is the change in. I mean, is the change in the way you shape and the way the Atlas? I guess that's part of the War of the Atlas. War of Atlas just encompasses all of that, or what do we want to say? Like, I don't know. But anyway, so I guess we will have. There's going to be a different meta in terms of shaped maps, right?
Yeah, that's definitely.
And then there's going to be Xanamod changes. So I guess maybe we can cover. If you want, do you want to talk about? You want to talk about the shaped and the mapping system of the Atlas for a little bit?
Well, that's to be figured out. I don't think there's too much to talk about right now, right? Okay. I would say go into the Atlas and start unlocking things. Start unlocking them at least up to the tier we already did, right? Try and get everything done, and try and like go in, experience. Like I'm definitely gonna go in. I'm gonna experience everything I can, like as soon as possible, with both the Abyss and the Elder and the War, and see how that actually feels to play against and to encounter and all that, and whether or not I feel like the change to the overall like density of maps and the whole rework of like making the XP per hour like the same. Maybe you want to go to more of the indoor maps and stuff like that. Like it might not hurt you as much not shaping. So we'll see.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Let's see if so yes, no. Okay. So I'm pretty excited.
Yeah.
Based on what I've read for the Zana mod changes. Now, Nugi and I were talking about this last night, and the one thing that I thought was sort of interesting to sort of note is we were back and forth on this a little bit. Do we think, or do people think, or as GG said, doesn't seem like they have, will Zana mods be tweaked every league? Right? So if Breach is the level 8 Zana, but that's because we're playing Breach 2.0, so that would be insane if you have Breaches and these Abyss things going on. Will the next league, where it's not a Breach league, will they lower the cost of Breach so that people can play that? Because I know that's a league I like. But then Nugi pointed out to me, because I'd seen it, but I don't think I'd really processed, that there is what is it actually called? Luck favor the whatever?
The Brave or something?
Luck favor the brave. Hold on, let me say luck favor. God damn it, Zana. Here we go. Fortune favors the brave.
There you go.
3 Chaos Orbs. Selects a Zana mod at random. Those available on the device, including this is so key, including any mods you have not yet unlocked. So, I find that interesting, because I don't really see a scenario where I wouldn't just take that. Based on the mods that are available. Yeah. I mean, so there's essences, strongboxes, shrines, breaches, beyond, bloodlines, anarchy. None of those are something that if they came on a map, I would have to brick the map, right? Or am I missing something?
No, I don't think any of them really bricks the map, except for you get some crazy map and you're like, let's just try it, and you get like some crazy beyond, and it spawns like 2 Abaxos or whatever, and you're like, okay. I can't do this.
Right. So yes, there is that for sure. But that's one of 7 mods that are available out there. So I'm interested to see how that works, because I think that, at least for me personally, the Zana stuff has been a little disappointing, I would have said. For people who aren't truly min-maxing, right? I think if you were truly min-maxing, Zana was great, or maybe not great. It was whetting your appetite appropriately, maybe is the right way to. And I felt like, I don't know. I felt like it was just, it was definitely the rich get richer sort of thing. And it seems like with this Fortune favors the brave, it's like, okay, every couple of maps, you can roll a couple of maps, maybe 5-10 maps at a time, save a couple of the good ones, go through your shitty maps, and then, do a couple of Fortune favor the braves with your great maps all at the same time. Whatever rolled really easy, so that whatever comes up, it's going to be no problem, and then get a massive return. So I'm interested to see how that works out. Let's see. I think what else in terms of end game changes am I forgetting here? I mean, I guess has monster density changed, or sorry, it's the rule. It's the rules to generate monsters. Here we go. The rules to generate monsters in endgame maps have been significantly reworked and rebalanced around the rate at which we expect players to reliably clear out the map. In general, narrow linear maps will get fewer total monsters than maps with complex layouts, and we will be monitoring this and adjusting over time. So basically, it's more of a strand and waste pool and whatever else kind of knock. But then, I don't know. I guess we'll just see how that change ends up happening. What ends up happening from that? I mean, I think that this is something that they're clearly always trying to tweak. I don't know if this is really something that's solvable, right? Because the community's like a great Darwinian engine where we all are water at the top of the hill, and we're all going to come trickling down, and whatever the best route is, we're all going to get on that route, regardless of whatever GGG tries to do. So I think it's good that they're adjusting for sure. I just think there's going to be a map that everyone wants to run.
Possibly. I don't know. I think it's going to be... I have a feeling that it's going to be more up to the individual player's choice and build as well. Okay. Especially if some of these builds like will probably work really well indoors, and some of them will work very well outdoors. And I also think like if sextants are not as available, right? If it's harder to get the sextants, well then you would rather have more minions in your map every time.
Right.
So yeah, I don't know. I think it's gonna take a while until we go like all the way into like one specific map, like the shore strategy. But one thing I noted was that it was definitely not a bad idea to, and also with this whole like elder and all this stuff like moving around, like is it gonna be nice? Is it gonna be nice with what's it called? Doing different maps, like having different things altered to sextants, because we were running both like Atoll and Shore and Tropical Island. All of those three were actually really good, and it kind of more dependent on like what build you're running. I was setting myself up to run Atoll like last the Mayhem League. Obviously, I play solo self-farm, but my build is not good in open wide areas because it's an AOE build. So I like nice tight corridors. So I was in Atoll. So I think there's even when the meta is like very nicely defined, there's always like you can still branch out and kind of suit the Atlas to what you want to do. And I think that's going to be even more the case now. We'll see. Eventually everyone's going to like default on one thing that is perceived as the best, obviously, because that's just how
it works.
It works,
right. Yeah. I think that I might try to unlock every map. I don't think I've ever actually done that, because Atlas came out during, is it Essence League that it came out, or Prophecy? One of those two. And I played less, so I only unlocked up to 10 or 11 or something. So I think I'm just going to unlock everything and just, do whatever to do that. I haven't done that. So, and I, it would be interesting if they have a little bit of a counterbalance to the whole shape strat, where only of course you block and only those maps drop. I guess we'll see if there's any mechanics where they're trying to tweak that to make it a little less attractive. Okay, so all that said, speaking of endgame, our hype levels for Abyss on a scale of 1 to 10, based on what we've seen so far and heard about it, what is your hype level for Abyss itself, the league?
It's like a 9 out of 10.
Okay.
Because it's a mystery. Woo!
Yes.
And Abyss duels are gonna be so strong.
Now, can you? That's what I guess I didn't have confirmed. Can you craft the Abyss jewels?
I think so. Yeah.
Drop. Okay.
I think all of this is craftable.
Okay.
There's apparently a jewel post.
Oh, like just now or something?
I don't know.
Let's see. I don't see a jewel post. Abyss jewel mod list tool?
I don't know.
Is that what they're talking?
I don't know what it is.
Okay. Well, I see a post about Abyss jewels. PoEcraft.com. Interesting. Anyway, we'll have to see how things end up happening. It's kind of been interesting since Jewels came out, and Jewels came out for 2.0.
I think
so. We've
so.
So 2.1, 2.2, 2.3, 2.4, 2.5, 2.6, and then 3.0, 3.1. So we've had 8 leagues of Jewels at this point. It actually seems to follow it sort of follows every other one. Does that make sense? because where the like jewels are such a main part of what's going on, right? There's the initial release, then they kind of got nerfed a little bit. Then they were just sort of ho hum. Then it was like we introduced, they introduced a bunch of unique jewels, I would have said in 2.2 or something. And then it was okay. And the threshold ones. Okay. And then, and now we're introducing fucking crazy jewels. So, I'm interested very much as someone who likes to craft jewels sort of anyway.
Yeah.
I feel like that's always been something I've liked doing. I'm very excited to see what ends up happening with that. I am very excited just for the league mechanic itself.
Yeah. It's going to be
interesting.
I wonder if this has much content because it's just the Lich, right? Or are there multiple bosses? Or because if it's like equivalent to Breach had 4.
4, yeah.
This is one Abyss. We haven't seen anything different, but maybe they're different Lich Lords.
I mean, it's interesting. Maybe that was a way for them to create more bosses because there's one Breach, quote unquote, Abyss, but you can get a bunch of different things. Yeah, I'm excited. Very excited about that. I think that the nice thing is now that we talked about this a little bit. Now that we've had experience with what these types of leagues are like,
5.
You said there's what?
There was 5 in Breach.
There's 5. Oh yeah, because there's the four elements in chaos.
Yeah.
But so since we know how Breach works, I'm not going to be butthurt when I'm level 36 and I've seen 2 Abysses and they've both sucked, right? Because Breach kind of sucked low level a little bit.
Yeah.
Because it's scaled. And I'm assuming this is going to work the same way. So it's nice that I'm like, oh, okay, so we're going to go along and it's going to be hopefully fucking crazy with Beyond on some map. And it's just, I don't know, there's shit everywhere. So I'm excited for that part. Is there what other mechanics are there from Abyss that we will talk about?
I don't think there's that much to talk about Abyss. I think it's it's a mystery, which is going to be nice to explore.
So, do we want to do a little bit of predictions for the league? Okay. So I guess who is going to be? I guess we'd have to say, unfortunately, are we going to insult the softcore crowd? Because I don't think I know who traditionally wins the softcore crowd.
The VOC crew, I think.
VOC. I was going to say VOC, the VOC people.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think those are the people who usually win.
So then, first to 100.
Oh, and Findle, right?
Oh yeah, Findle, of course. Yeah, absolutely.
I think he's the other crew, or is he in Vox crew? I don't know. There's I think there are 2 groups. I'm not sure if they're the same, but there's definitely some people who are like always crushing everyone. It's like I think there's 2 groups.
I'm excited to see if Thraz comes back and plays, since Thraz likes to do the shit on everyone to like level 70 or something in softcore, and then he
wins.
So that's always fun. So first 100 in solo self-found and first 100 in the regular core. Who are our predictions? Obviously not Rays, am I right?
Well, according to Steel.
According to Steel,
if you get beat by Rise, you're even worse than you shouldn't be spoken of.
I mean, I think as we've talked with Nugi and I talked about a little bit last night. Just hitting 100 in solo self-found, I think you just deserve an award, because I can't really imagine doing that personally. So I think that you're special no matter what if you hit a 100 in solo self-found. That's just my opinion. So first 100, I'm going to say the first 100 of the regular core will be Etup. Okay, I went there. I'm just gonna go with the old tried and true Etup. What are your predictions? So. You don't think so?
I think he plays two meme builds. I don't think he's cut for the good old race. Wow. He's gonna be in top 10 for sure. Wow. I don't think he wants to play like right. So his builds was like, I'm gonna start at Sunder. He's not gonna keep playing Sunder, but even if he does, that's not good. So and into something else. into he's probably gonna go some kind of bow build with Siege Ballista, right? He's gonna try that out, and he's gonna hedge his life, and it's gonna be, yeah. I think the Steel Crew. Gucci, I think, is hungry, so I think you could see Gucci maybe taking that one.
Right. And then solo self-out. Who do you think?
I think Uber has been no-lifing a lot, and actually one thing that's always good to do if you want to win is play the same build that you played the last 3 leagues. That is a very good way to win.
So then I wouldn't pick Uber based on what I saw.
Because he plays Spectres, and Spectres are very strong.
I don't think he's playing that.
Oh, he's going to stop with that kick. Don't you think so?
He was talking about it on stream. I was watching his stream. He's talking about he wants to do he had some crazy fucking detonate build of some kind.
Maybe. That could also be okay. Right. So Uber's like a good choice. Rise could also be a good choice. Exif, right? Nice shot.
Oh.
Huh? Hello.
I'm just gonna unplug the phone here. It was Commissioner Gordon was calling me. Oh. He knew that PoE was launching, so apparently there's another phone plugged into this apartment.
Exif is crazy, right? He goes like all out on the push, and a guy like Dev as well. There's like a few people who are always contenders. I think the solo cell phone one is very it's very tough to like predict because there's so many people in it, and it also a lot of solo cell phone is also who gets like the right build going, who gets the RNG, and who is actually committed to push like after say like a weekend, who actually is committed, and it's hard to say.
Yeah, because didn't the XF guy, he was the guy with 3 people inside top 5, one of those leagues?
So last league, I think he had 4 level 100s out of the 30 something that reached 100 in solo self-found. So like he's definitely prepared. Al Kaiser is always like, right? He's always going to be like, he's always going to be there like creeping up all the time. And if people don't go ham or have some like crazy XP build, he's just going to do his cleave or sunder or whatever melee build he likes to play. And he's just going to go to 100, right? So
has he been doing the solo self-found recently and not doing the... Because I thought...
I think so. He's definitely... I usually see him play solo self-found, I think. Okay.
I thought he did he did a normal character and then he did a solo self-found with his next character, but maybe I don't remember offhand. These are all good names.
I might get it. Just
Noogie, yeah.
No, I don't meme too much.
Meme.
I meme a lot, so I sabotage myself most of the time, which is probably not the best thing, but that's
Well, so what is the meme? What's the meme solo self build then at this point? Still SRS or something like that?
Oh, no. Meme, or you mean good?
Yeah, good.
Spectres is really good.
Oh yeah, obviously Spectres, the Sun Guards. Right, they're Sun Guards. That's the name of that fucking those dudes. I think of them as backpack hammer throwers because I didn't know what their name was, so that's all I think about when I see them now. Because when I would watch streams, I'd be like, "What the fuck are these backpack-looking throw dudes doing?" But then they just shit on the entire map. So, okay, I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna pick Raze.
Okay.
For first solo self-found because I think that he has the gauntlet was thrown. The pun intended, the steel gauntlet was thrown down. Get it? See, because gauntlet's made of steel and his name is Steel, right?
Man, that's going to be a long race. 40% increased XP. It's going to take like 3 weeks then.
Oh my, yeah. So how long did it take people to get solo self-found first 100? Like 6 days or something?
5 days? I think.
5?
Oh, solo self-found?
Yeah, solo self-found, not at a group.
Wait, where?
Solo. I'm just saying solo self-found to get 100. How long does that take?
3.0? Now?
Sure. No, for 3.0. Yeah.
Oh, it took him 16 days.
16 days?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, 21.
No, you're talking. Are you saying with Raze?
Yeah.
I'm saying who was the first person to get 100 the last several leagues? What on average has it taken?
Well, the
5,
first
6
person
days.
was Rice. He got
Oh,
first 100.
and it was 16 days.
Yes.
Okay, but was there someone way ahead of him in terms of pace, who then died?
Well, at some point.
Okay, all right. I'm just trying to get a number for what do we think the number is for getting Solo Self-Found 100. So, and then how much of it is going to be increased by the changes? That's all.
Well, Solo Self-Found is going to be. I don't know. We'll see. That's a tough one. I think people are a little bit more eager to push this time. I think the mechanics are a little bit more fun and stuff. And yeah.
But it's going to take some
probably around the same time, honestly, this time around.
You think it's going to take this?
Yeah,
okay.
Even with the XP increase, I think, a couple of weeks, 2 to 3 weeks. Maybe faster. I know, because it's just Devonex, if they go like, they place so much. It's like crazy. And Uber as well. Uber's just a little bit slow in the start, in general.
Do you think then that this is going to be a high retention? Because there's all this stuff
I think
going on? Okay. Will we break? Did we break 100,000 on Steam? I don't think we did, right? Let's see, Steam charts. PoE. I forgot to look this up before. Here we go. Peak players 98,110. So, will we break 100?
Oh, say that again.
Will we break 100,000 peak players? We were at 98,001. So we were 2,000 off.
Yes.
Okay. All right. I would say.
Cold Carnage is playing. I'm pretty sure some of the other big guys are playing. This league has so much hype going for it. It's Christmas.
Yep.
People have time off.
Yep. I was browsing our technology, reading some thread, and I saw this comment from a guy named Colby Cheese. And I was like, is this the same Colby Cheese? Then I click on his history, and it's like his top post is, League of Legends, and then Reddit, Path of Exiles. I'm like, it is the same. So I commented, I was like, are we going to see you at 3.1? Big changes. And he was like, yes. So, okay. Even somebody who, hadn't been around in like 3 years is apparently going to come back. And so, okay. Break 100,000. I actually don't think I don't think PoE is going to leap the way it has the last couple leagues, where it gained basically 50% of its peak again.
Nah, that's that little. I don't think that's that either.
No,
a lot of that was also all the influx of all these, like, all the big streamers coming in with their player base.
Right.
They can spike 30. So they're playing again, bringing some more, but
right.
I don't know. Maybe we'll definitely see a big a good increase. I think. I'm
gonna say 115. It's gonna be peak.
Let's say 120. I think it's going a little higher.
So are we doing Price is Right rules, where if you're even if the number is you can't do 120,001. Okay. And one, yeah, exactly. No. Right. And then you lose. Okay.
That's stupid.
Yeah. Let's see. What other predictions are there that we could make? What is going to be the most meta skill, do you think? If you had to guess right now. Would Dead Knight Dead be your answer, since you were so hyped about it?
The most meta skill?
Yeah.
DD is gonna get some play. I think Volatile Dead might be more I think Volatile Dead would pique the interest of more people.
Okay.
Just on the looks and everything, right? You were very excited about it as well. I think maybe Bow Builds with the new Mirage. It's actually going to make people interested in that.
Right. So I want to say something. I haven't really bitched at all, so I don't feel like I'm not being Moors here.
Okay.
So here's a problem what I have to say.
Yeah. Go.
One thing I don't like is that, so I'm hyped for different gems, but I'd have to probably make different characters, really, to take advantage of different gems. That is one thing I feel like has been lost. Now, maybe the game's better overall because of this and things, etc. But I'm annoyed that on a personal level, maybe it doesn't apply to everybody. If I want to make a volatile dead character, I have to do one thing, and if I want to, so then it's like okay, and then if I want to make a, I don't know, like I can't make a minion character and a dead character, at least. I mean, you can, I guess Elementalist is good. Anyway, I'm just sort of saying if you're not sure what you want to play, you're in kind of a bind a little bit, right? You kind of have to shit or get off the pot now with PoE. You can't play Marauder and be like, I want to play some caster build and still be able to make something. Would it be as good as a pure crit shadow, whatever the best theory crafted build would be for that gem? Maybe not, but it would still be 90% as effective, right? Versus now with Ascendancies, you're like 50% as effective. That's what I'm saying, because of the power Ascendancies have over specific things.
There's so many builds you can play though. With each, like if you can play I know Templar and Duelist and Ranger and Witch, and actually all of them have some sub-ascendancy that has tons of different things you can play.
Sure.
Yeah, and some of them, pretty much all of them, have something very generic. You can always, if you're like Marauder, you can always go Berserker into something. Like you can be caster, melee, totems, you can do like whatever.
Right.
So
okay.
I don't think I don't think it's that big of a problem. Yeah, some of the builds you can make are I don't know, but at the same time with Ascendancies, you get to experience a different like play style because of the Ascendancy that you wouldn't have been able to experience before. So it's still opening up some options you wouldn't have had, right? Where it's more generic builds before. Now it's more like you specialize a little bit more in these things, but it also changes their playstyle.
Yep. Okay. So that's fair. I mean, I'm still, I guess I want to have my cake and eat it too. I want to be able to switch, and it's a little less possible than it used to be, but that's okay. It's just,
I get what you're saying, right? You kind of, if there are two builds, you're like wondering, should I either play a summoner or should I play you can't just swap to a summoner if that's what you want to swap to instead of like on a duelist. But even then, you wouldn't play a summoner duelist even back then.
No. So. It just is. Yeah, it was just because the two builds that I was thinking about, some sort of summoner, some sort of caster, and so then it's like, okay, well, if I'm really not sure, then I have to go Witch, even if just because that's
Scion,
really the only summoner, or Scion, right? Those are the two. So,
but that wasn't nice either, though, right? We had a meta with like pure Scion. Like 90% of builds were Scion. That wasn't fun either.
Well, okay. But that's because I still come back to, okay, but then we could have a real nice discussion about, I still think they fucked the tree up for adding Scion. I think that ends up being a mistake.
Okay.
Because of that. So then the cascading effect of where we had the Scion meta was then now we have this weird place we're in. I still think for forevermore, Scion will either be the number one choice or the number 7 choice for people with builds, right? And I guess I understand occasionally, especially now, and I think this is so key. At one point I said there's no scenario where you'll ever pick Scion to skip to the starting nodes of somebody's tree, but that was because that was before they added 2 more points in the Ascendancy lab, right? So now that you have 8 points, confirm because I actually I've never made one. So you can
jump and have 2 different ones.
2, right?
And that's
so
good.
now that you can do that, that ends up being okay. That's interesting.
Yes.
And is appealing. So okay, they fixed that. The thing they released was bad. Then they fixed it. So
yes.
Okay.
Not good.
So I think it serves. So now it's good and serves a niche, and is better than it was. Okay. So yeah, I am also wondering. The thing that's been on my sort of pet peeve list for quite some time, and I just found out about this. It's not really related to anything, but I want to say, just to hear we can talk about it. So that Burning Ground, and I guess all are disabled on Xbox, but they're enabled on PC.
Yeah.
And so, if I hadn't really kind of taken a break from PoE for some time, I think that I would be ready to just self-combust hearing about that. From 50,000 feet perspective, I'm still like, wait, why is this like this? But yeah, I don't often say something like this, but if you listen to this podcast or you watch Noogie stream or you're gonna on Noogie's channel, or you're of the like 30 people that might stop by my channel later, I strongly encourage you to make a feedback post or if there's a post somewhere, and say, why can I not disable this on my PC? Because it lags my computer. I've got a nice computer, and I bought a new graphics card 6 months ago. It still lags me. I can't believe. I don't know. Do you have any? What are your thoughts, Noogie? Just before, I just don't understand. Why can't we disable? It just seems like
I don't get it either. It's like they free to play games in general. Like they cater to players that can't invest that much into like a better PC, right? In general, they have a large amount of people who are like on kind of lower end PCs. It's not a AAA game where you expect like massive like graphics card and 1080 Ti's and right the new i7 87 and all that, right? That's not what we expect. It's a free to play game, and it's nice to like be able to like just go in and play, and it's nice, no restrictions. And then, here you go, Burning Ground. And then they have like entry level PCs would probably be like Xbox level, and Xbox can't fucking handle this shit. But they expect everyone else like to be able to handle it. No, they can't. It's just. It's just not gonna happen. It sucks. And now they added now the grass can go on fire as well. I'm like,
yes.
Why?
I mean, Chris commented in that thread how it has a minimal impact on your.
Yeah, it's a load of bull. I'm sorry, but that's a load of bull.
Well, but see the problem. So with
it's a minimal impact on their specific, like their like little setup they have at the office, where they're like, oh, this is what we expect the player to encounter, and then players who are actually playing a lot, it's like destroying them.
Right. Well, okay, because it's okay. Unfortunately, it's not the only thing you're doing when you PoE. You're not just using Firestorm to light grass on fire. If that was the only thing you're doing, I'm sure it does have a middleman. The problem is you also have purple wings and worms flying at your ass. And then, skill effects that, are cars with horns, and when they land on the ground, they explode, and, all this stuff. All that together, and then your frame rates just dip. So anything that adds to that, you're just kind of like, okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah.
I think once you get into the things that should be like the most unplayable, where you're like, experience in PoE at its peak level, right, with all the effects, and you finally get into like the thing you've been waiting for since you started, and it's like Burning Ground,
right?
And it's just I don't know, it's like a slap in the face every time. It's like, oh, you're really having fun now. Just here you go, Burning Ground.
I think the queue is up.
Yeah, I entered.
Okay.
Doing all this.
Also, my thing when I'm sitting in the queue, I eventually get an unexpected disconnection occur.
Oh no!
And I get dropped out of the queue. What?
Oh please no! Did I do that? Okay. Oh shit! So did I.
Really? Okay, so it's not just me then. Okay. I have a little bit of a problem here. Oh, unexpected disconnection has occurred. I guess I'm going to log into Steam and see what happens now.
But yeah, I really it's one of the things where I feel like there's like kind of there's like some barrier we need to like break through with GGG when it comes to that kind of performance stuff.
Yes, they. I mean, it's the same thing with the loot. There had to be like a outcry about the loot timers, permanent allocation and stuff like that before they really caved. And it's like, I don't know. I mean, this is the thing. It's not the look of your game. It's a random mod on maps that doesn't really do anything other than annoy people anyway. Like, it'd be one thing if, I don't know, it's I find it very strange. I don't know. And it's very,
there must be a different way to create like something you have to play around, like with a ground effect style, right? Where it's like Maybe there's like occasional fireballs thrown from the sky that would be less impactful, right? That you had to dodge. That would then generate a fire patch like in a small area, but it will always like fall near you. It would never, so it wouldn't affect the entire map all the time, but it would only like affect where you are, so you wouldn't have to load an entire fucking map of burning ground. I don't know, there must be like something they can do to introduce the same kind of mechanic that they want, where they want players to actually play around this one thing, because that's why they're keeping it, right? Because it's something for players to interact with that, like, if you're running Vol Pact, it sucks to have Burning Ground, right? So if you're running any kind of like ES build, it's good to like creates a different playstyle where it's like, oh, you walk over that, it stops your regen and all that, right? So it has an effect on your gameplay, which is what they obviously want to keep, because if they don't care about the gameplay that it creates, then why even have it there? So there must be some reason. Hello?
Did I lag or did you lag?
I don't know. Maybe both. I don't know.
Maybe Discord
I'm lagging. No, I think it might be me.
Okay. Anyway. Yeah, there's got to be a better solution. I'm just surprised it hasn't been done at this point. It's just, I used to be really mad about it, and now it's kind of puzzling. Like if it's not a solvable thing, what's going on? I mean, I'm not like, I don't know. It just seems like it just should be dealt with, and give us an option to. I mean, that's the thing. I think they don't want to create an option because everyone would turn it off, and then it's like, isn't that your answer then? If everyone will turn something off, doesn't that tell you whether the thing should be enabled, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's such a nuisance to everyone. Nobody likes it.
Right.
So change it. Do something with it. Like, mix the pot. Try like different solutions here. Just come up with something, right? For one league, we could like have one league without Burning Ground. They can reintroduce it if it's that necessary to the game.
Right. Well, yeah. I mean, exactly. I mean, it just feels like it just hasn't been dealt with.
Yeah.
I think they feel like they've done optimizations. True. I don't dip as much as I might have used to, but then I got to upgrade my computer. So it's tough for me to tell. It still seems like it's a massive lag. It's like, to me, the only thing is bad in terms of FPS is maybe 6 people on the screen doing something, or walking into town where everyone has MTX on, and that lags you a bit for a little bit. The first time you see them, right, it lags you. And then, anyway, do we want to take some Q&A or anything like that, or are we done?
Do we? Like, we're 2 hours in.
It's up to you. I'm ready to cut us off and let people go their ways.
Let's listen to chat. What do you guys up for? Like we can do like a 10-minute Q&A, I guess. Just a quick one.
I'm very nervous. I loaded up the macro.
Q&A. Hellman says.
Hellman
speaks.
Does anyone do you know when is the I can't ever say that guy's name. Luca Tower, or here it is, Lutsick Hour. Is he not updating his Lutbot thing anymore?
I don't know. I'm still using it.
Okay. I don't have an update.
Do you have my chat open?
No, I don't. I should open it. It distracts me, so I never open it. Oh shit. Opening it up now.
How will bows fare in 3.1? I think they're going to be pretty good. I think the Mirage thing is actually going to make it's going to make a lot of bow builds feel like it's not all or nothing anymore. It's not like go in Barrage with Vol Pact and then just hope to survive. No, you can play it a little bit more nimble, like with regen, and like you take some damage, you run around while you're still doing some damage. So I think people will like that, the Mirage Archer, for just improving their bossing experience in general without having to go all in. So yeah, that's going to be interesting.
I mean, do you think people are getting super hyped about that? The Archer behind the back. What is that?
Yeah,
that's
Mirage Archer. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, I think that will actually make a lot of people enjoy playing the bow build in endgame. At least.
Yeah, it seems like bows are almost I don't know. Has there ever been a time when bows weren't among the best things to be doing end game? I don't remember a time when they weren't. Maybe like directly after they tried to deal with Lion Eyes being the thing that everyone was trying to do, whatever league that was, like Onslaught or something. For like one league, people weren't bowing, and then the next league they brought some things back, and then I feel like since then every league somebody's doing a bow thing, and it's very strong.
Oh, there's always someone doing bows. Bows will still be strong. Yeah. It's gonna be tougher to roll the bows with no wall pact and all that, but it's especially where like volley or barrage kind of shined. But tornado shot is also very good with like stuff like that. But yeah, I think bows would be good.
Bows plus Thornflesh. Somebody says, how rare would you want the new Shaper items to be if the DPS numbers you're getting are correct? Have we gotten numbers from somewhere? Or does he means for the bow
for the bow and stuff? It has to be pretty rare. No, I hope they're probably gonna be getting it's probably gonna be like a steel ring rarity. What I'm curious about, can we get a Shaper steel ring? And how lucky do you have to get one of those?
What? Yeah, wow. Okay. They would have to be pretty rare, right?
Yeah. I don't think they're going to be like finding one item will be that rare. Or maybe it will. I don't know. We'll see. I think they're going to be pretty rare. I think they should be pretty rare.
Yeah, because then, so if you have one of those items and you use a Chaos Orb on it, it's going to lose its property.
No. It just rolls. It's a Shaper item. You can roll them.
Okay.
With Shaper properties.
Okay.
That's why they have to be really rare, because you can craft them.
So they'll drop Shaper items. They're tagged as a Shaper item, and then they're craftable. Okay. Well.
Yeah.
It's clear. I guess I didn't quite understand them. It's going to be very rare.
Yeah. That's why I'm saying it might be like, to find just one might be the same thing as finding a steel ring. Right. So finding a steel ring that's also... Is there proof? Well, I'm pretty sure that's how it goes.
I mean, that
was my understanding, at least. That's how it.
I mean, works. I don't think anyone. How does anyone know? No one knows for sure, right?
No, like we'll see. Maybe you can't roll them, but I would be surprised if you can't. It's written.
Okay.
GGG said it was the case. I'm pretty sure I've seen that was like. That is my assumption from what I've been reading. Like, from my understanding, that's how it works. So, let's see how it goes. Essence Shaper items. Essence crafted Shaper items. Just think about it. You roll the crit. Okay, so you get gloves, right? The gloves have the crit, the 1.5 crit chance. And then you get 2 Shaper rolls. You get like faster casting and like some prod stuff like LMP or whatever. And then you have 4 sockets and crit. Yeah. And very good. So, yeah. Essence crafted Shaper items will be pretty mental. The same thing with like the helmet, right? You do like more elemental damage. Plus 2 extra rolls. You have like a pseudo 6-link with an essence roll.
My God.
Yeah. The nullments, and it's gonna be like crafting this league is gonna be like off the rocks. I'm telling you, it's gonna be. Oh yeah, and then you use all this, and you're like Hierophant gloves with like 40% AOE, which is essentially the same thing as having an AOE gem in there, like constantly, or 20% pen in the helmet. It's pretty good.
Okay. Interesting things to think about here.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess that's how you would, if it's a Shaper jewel, right? Or those are Elder jewels.
No, those are Abyss jewels. That's all Abyss. And that's also something you want to get, because does Abyss carry over, or is this your chance to get Abyss jewels? Will you ever get them again? Maybe somewhere, maybe only through, right? So there's something to consider as well.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess I was. I mean, obviously the answer is one or the other. You can either craft them or they have to be a drop. It's craftable. That seems crazy. What at Nuki at Moore's? What builds will you play? My God, I have no idea. Someone help me and tell me what's the build I should be playing right now.
I was actually thinking. I've been thinking about so many builds. Like I could do Infernal Blow plus Molten Strike. I can do something with like so there's all the duelist builds with like Slayer. Right, so it's like Frostblade or Infernal Blow Molten Strike, or you could even do Reeve plus Blade Flurry. I think that could be really nice. Like good good map clear and good boss clear. You can do all the DD stuff. You can do Volatile Dead. You can do all the things up like full crit Inquisitor. I think so. It's for me. It's either Inquisitor or Thunder or Slayer. That's me. What about you?
Someone said I should play Golems in chat because I've never.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I don't know. Part of me really wants to make an Iron Will character again, and then I can't. It's so tough for me to commit to is it Volatile Dead, the one that I was hyped about. I'm gonna take me a while to get the names. Yeah, it's Volatile Dead. It's gonna. I want to commit so badly to it, but I mean the other.
Oh no.
Doesn't scale with Iron Will. Right?
Say that again?
The explodey part does not scale with Iron Will. Iron Will not scale the explosion. So making fucking absurd explodey balls. If only there was an ice orb in there. But anyway, so something Glacial Cascade, Iron Will. That's what I was talking about. I think that could be interesting. Or I guess back to some sort of summoner. I mean, a skeleton mage Iron Will army does sound very sexy to me. Have you played with the mages? Are they good? I don't think I've seen anyone use
they are. They're good.
Okay.
Kind of clunky. It's like playing totems. Skeleton mages is like playing totems because they walk in like a small circle and then they never move again. So you have to place them down all the time and then they just shoot.
Okay. So you're constantly pooping them out all the time.
Yeah.
So basically, the Sun Guards are still going to be summoner. It seems like based on what
Solar Guards. Yeah.
Is it Solar Guards? Whatever the fuck they are.
They're the best.
They're the best. Okay, so I think going away from summoner, Glacial Cascade, some sort of skill, some sort of Iron Will. Maybe it's time to. I don't know. When I see attributes on items, I get very excited. Want to buy.
Yeah.
The question is this only on belts that you can get attributes, or can you get it on other things?
And we don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, we don't know. We'll see. If it's only on belts, I will be sad. If it's on like jewelry, belts, and maybe
I know for a fact you can get. I know belts has all attributes. I think maybe like I know like I wouldn't be surprised if strength items will be able to roll strength percentage, like on most armor pieces. And
wait, say that again.
Yeah, so int items can roll percent int, strength items can roll percent strength, and dex items percent dex. I'm pretty sure the Vol Regalia had percent int, so I'm pretty sure you can get an astral plate with
the
percent
Vol Regalia
strength.
has percent strength.
Oh, it does. It has percent strength.
Yeah, the Vol Regalia has strength.
Maybe it's just maybe you can get either of them then. I don't know. We'll see.
Okay. I guess somebody was saying volley support plus freeze pulse. What would that actually do? Support skills have 2 additional projectiles, so you get an LMP. Projectile damage. Supporter skills also fire projectiles from up to 2 points on each side of you. Wait, what?
Yeah, just it makes them like go in a line from like so you have you in the middle, right? And then you just get 2 on the sides of you, and then 2 more even further out, and they go in a straight line forward. Okay. You remember the split arrow jewel or the split arrow threshold gem that made it shoot in every all in a straight line? That's what happens. Up to a maximum of 5 now.
Okay.
So you can have 5 freezing pulses next to in parallel. Yeah.
Very interesting.
I think it's good for. I think that might be kind of nice on freeze pulse.
I was gonna say like.
But then again, do you just do 1 jewel then for 2 extra projectiles and then the volley? Because getting 5 is pointless, right? Because it can never overlap.
Right.
So you would go up to 6 and you'd have 2 in there in the middle, and that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
So you would have to use 1 jewel. So you get another jewel slot because of it, and then you would lose the... Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it would just take the place of, old LMP, old GMP, I'm assuming. Same setup.
Yeah, would you lose a support gem, which you would rather not do, but you get the utility of having them all in parallel?
Yeah. It's very interesting. May or may not be. Having to think about that. I don't know, it just seems like Freeze Pulse is such a bad at this point, but I did see Havoc what was Havoc doing? He was that Hierophant? I'm assuming it was Totem Freeze Pulse for whatever race that was.
Oh, that's probably Inquisitor Totems.
Or Inquisitor Totems? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would assume.
But he lost on that. But I mean, not by much, and he was going fast as hell. I guess because I didn't even know. I was so confused. I was like, "Why is your Freeze Pulse going like 2 screens away?" But I guess
fast approach.
Okay, just made it go bing bong everywhere. So I wonder what it actually is like here. We may or may not be. Let's see what I'm doing right now. Interesting. I guess that's very interesting. Also fires projectile 2 points. Anyway, so it's an interesting concept. Not to dwell on that for a little bit. Yeah, I don't know. It just feels like if this is a crafting league, maybe this is the league to unlimber the doing something crazy with Iron Will and seeing what you could do. But that leads me back to I'm sad that I would have to make another character to min-max, probably. I definitely don't want to roll Chieftain, even though Chieftain is the one with 10%. It doesn't have 10% on the tree.
It does. And it gives you potential leech and all that.
Yeah, so that's kind of...
You can always go Berserker. It's good for spellcasters as well.
That is true. I
don't know. Gives you a
I
multiplier that you're hard-pressed to get because you don't have crit and all that, so it's not bad.
Yeah, I mean, the rest of the thing is just so bad, though. I don't
Get a
know.
cool-looking avatar.
Oh, God. Man, kill me. Anyway, so I think that's pretty much it. We should give people time to go do whatever. I know you.
Yeah. I need to go as well. Do a few things.
Yeah. So yeah, thanks everyone for being here. I think that what do you think we'll be able to get this uploaded?
I will try now and see if I can compile it into a little video.
Yeah, because now Nugi has a baller computer, way better than, so he's going to do all sorts of things. His computer can also. What else can it do now? It can fly.
It can fly. Yeah.
Does it make drinks?
Space travel.
It's okay. Space travel, faster than light travel. Yeah.
Not that good at making coffee though. I still need to use a coffee machine for that.
Okay. But yeah, thanks everyone for being here. It was pretty fun. I have to say, it's weird to be hyped about PoE, right?
It's nice.
I haven't been hyped because I want to say I had the most fun I've ever had was Breach and Legacy in a long time, but I wasn't hyped because I didn't really know anything about it. Now they're kind of selling this as Breach 2.0 a little bit, which gets me all tingly. So I'm excited. So yeah, I guess I want to say good luck to everyone out there, right?
Yeah.
Hope your drops are good. Hope your connection's good. Hope your let's all think positive thoughts for there's no server problems today. What other things can we wish? I hope that Chris doesn't have to sleep in his office tonight, right? Because I think he does that normally for big releases.
Let's hope that Abyss is fun.
Yes, Abyss is fun. Yeah, it's 6:20 a.m. right now in New Zealand, I think.
Oh.
According to my clock. So that means Chris definitely slept in the office. So hopefully things go well and he can go home. He can go home tonight, and and he's happy about that. So yeah, so good luck. You can of course find this on Nugi's YouTube, TBD, unfortunately, because we're just not sure. Soon though, regardless, it'll be soon.
I'm trying. I'll try as fast as possible.
Yep, and then it'll be up on the website, so you can subscribe. It's the coffeetalkpodcast.com. So either YouTube or the website, and yeah, we'll see you out there at various points doing various things.
And Morris, will you be streaming during this league?
I will be streaming. I want to say. So
where can they find you, Morris?
At Moore's Rage Engine. I actually had an opportunity to get my old Justin TV name back.
Whoa!
But I decided to stay with this name. So I've committed. That's it. It's gone now, I think. I don't know what happens to the old name.
Oh, okay.
Because remember they sent you an email?
Yeah,
You get your old name. So anyway, so I'm here. I will be streaming. I have gigabit internet now, so we'll see. I don't know. I guess if for anyone out there who might check out my stream, if you come in and you can't watch me, you should type something in chat and say your bitrate is too high, because I think I put my bitrate to 9,000. So
whoa, that's a bit. I don't think you should go over it. Like 6 is not enough for like 1080 with 60 FPS.
Okay, so I'll adjust it to 6,000. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I just was like, I'll put a high number. And so, I mean, I guess there's really no point streaming in 1080p.
Yeah. Right? No, people like it. People like to look at the quality.
I guess I'll try and see what ends up happening. Maybe my computer explodes and then
maybe.
Anyway, yes. So, sir, good luck to you, Noogie, and good luck to everyone. And we'll see you around.